We're live. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 352 Blitz. You see me and Eddie here rocking it out. If you guys haven't already, like I said, as always, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff for us. You can follow us everywhere. That's Twitter, Twitch, Twitter/X, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. 352 Blitz, all one word. But yeah, man, we obviously announced last episode, I think a week and a half ago on Twitter, that we're switching over to covering college football just for, just because that's something we really want to do. I'm still kind of playing around with things. So we're definitely talking about college football from here on out. So if you're a big college football fan, this is the podcast for you. Me and Ed have been playing, we play football all our lives, watch college football all of our lives. So this is something we felt more comfortable covering and felt more enthusiastic talking about. So that's why we made the switch. But yeah, we're going to talk about some of the games from this past week, talk about Colorado losing, talk about USC losing the way they did, and some other things too as well. We'll also talk about week 8 because there's a lot of big games coming up that we want to talk about and cover and give our opinions on and whatnot. So let's get to it, man. From week 7, let's talk about the first game that kind of surprised us all, which was Colorado giving up a 29-point lead. And this was late Thursday night, late Friday night. Gave up a 29-point lead and lost in overtime to Stanford. Did you watch that game, Ed?
I did. Well, no, I'm not going to say I did. I watched the first quarter. They were doing pretty good. I think they were up 14-0, whatever. Then I fell asleep. It was 2 a.m. And I'm like, I just woke up. I don't know if I was sleeping in a hotel, so I don't know if somebody made a noise or something. I wake up, I'm like, okay, well, let me check in on the game because it's probably either still going on or about to finish. And I log on to YouTube TV on my phone, and next thing I know, I see the score is 36-36. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
Right.
And then that's when I tagged you. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And you
Right.
were like, bro, they were up 29-0. 29-0?
Yeah.
It's a bad loss, bro.
Yeah, because you kind of felt like obviously they got ran through by Oregon, and then the next week they played USC. They didn't look bad against USC at all, in my opinion. They looked really good. Obviously, defense has a lot to work on, but like their offense made a late push late in the third quarter, and I think only lost by a touchdown. So they did not look bad at all. So you kind of felt things were kind of going in the right direction, right? And
Right.
then I feel like this was all a mental thing right here. I think they overlooked Stanford. I think when they got up 29-0, they kind of stopped playing and they're like, okay, we already got this. And we all know college football, things can change like that with momentum, and things change just like that. And obviously you
Just
saw
like
what
that.
happened. Yeah, man. So I think, like I said, I think they just got comfortable, and I think they just overlooked them boys. And now look at them. Now they're what, 3-3 now? I think it is. Yeah, 3-3,
Yep.
and they got UCLA coming to town. I mean, they're going to go to UCLA. Then after that, they got Oregon State. So they could potentially have a losing record in the coming weeks.
Yeah. They haven't really, like, when you look at them, they traveled the first week to TCU, but then after that, I think they had 3 games in a row at home. Then they traveled to Oregon, got clapped up by them, went back home, lost to USC, and now they
Hmm.
lost to Stanford. So it's just
Yeah.
like, um, at the end of the day, like, it's Colorado, right? I mean, the big hype around Colorado this year is just because Deion Sanders is there. They won that big game versus TCU to begin the season after they wiped out the whole roster and brought people from Jackson State. So it's been impressive what's been being done. But now it's more. I think now everything is more down. They were brought back to earth. They're
Yep.
3-3. You Quite frankly, their offensive line is not very good. Shador Sanders is the most sacked quarterback, the most hit quarterback in the nation, and he still has over 2,000 passing yards, which is very impressive by him. But their O line is not good. Their defensive line compared to the offensive line in other Pac-12s, you can see where uh, FBS and FCS, you can tell the difference.
Hmm.
It's just, and now they go to UCLA. Is that a winnable game? Absolutely. But UCLA is not a slouch. I think they only lost 1 or 2 games, right?
Yep.
So they got to end. They go to UCLA, so it's different. UCLA usually has a decent atmosphere. So we'll see, man. I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna go with UCLA, to be honest. I think Chip Kelly is gonna win that game. Um, but I can't count out Colorado at all because I mean they beat TCU, they beat good teams. So
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in the fact that I think UCLA is going to win the game, but I think it's going to be the similar to the USC game in the fact that it's going to be a lot closer than people think it is. I think
yeah,
Deion Sanders has a good way of motivating almost anybody. I mean, we've seen the speeches he's made. You know, that motivates all of us. You know what I mean? I mean, we want to run
absolutely.
the ball. So I think he's going to get them boys ready to bounce back and ready to play hard and ready to prove themselves. But I just don't think they have the talent. And I think, like you just said, you see the difference in the trenches. You know, that's where games are won and lost. And offensive line is just not good. You know, they're just not good. And the D line, they're undersized and they're just not good enough to go against these guys. You know, so I think it's gonna come down to that, honestly. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and move on. So there's another big game that kind of, I don't know if it shocked you, but it shocked me, seeing USC lose by 18 to Notre Dame. You know, did you watch that game too?
I did watch that game, and I'll be honest, bro. And people like Orlando, and I know he's not watching this shit, but people at Orlando is gonna be calling me a damn serial hater because I've been saying this about Caleb Williams since like the beginning of the season, actually since the beginning of the year. I've always said Drake May to me is a better quarterback than Williams because Williams he be running around for 10 damn seconds and finds an open man because that's how horrible the damn defenses in Pac-12 are.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened this time? They faced a good defense in Notre Dame, where he didn't get allowed to run around like a chicken with no head and find an open man, and they got hit from the get go, and he threw 3 interceptions in the first half. He did not look like the classic Caleb Williams. I'm not saying Caleb Williams is bad. I'm just saying that Caleb Williams, he is in the perfect position to be great, and that is a
Mm-hmm.
USC quarterback under Lincoln Riley. The Pac-12 they play no defense.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Everybody has known that for the past 15 years. Idiots on Twitter or X when I come up to me to well the Pac-12 is they play better defense than the ACC. Why are you lying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was surprising to see them lose by 18, but it wasn't surprising for me to see them lose because they went to Colorado, and they almost lost there. And Colorado is not a bad team, but they're not as good as Notre Dame. So going over to the Big Ben to Notre Dame, um, how they've been showing out the past 2 weeks, I was like, man, they could definitely lose. I just didn't think they would lose this like that, and I didn't think Caleb Williams would look that bad. I thought he was going to prove me wrong that he just has a easy in the Pac-12,
Yeah.
but I was proven right.
Yeah, you're proven right for sure. I think this was the first real defense they played all season, and it showed. It showed magnificently. You know what I mean? Like that Notre Dame defense held Ohio State to what, 21 points,
Yeah,
and they got two of the best wide receivers in the country. They got Colin McCord, who hasn't been playing up to his standards, but still is a great quarterback as well. And they got held to 21 points. You know, so I agree with you in the fact that it's not really surprising to really see them like lose. But I'm sorry, man. Sorry about that. My phone's going off. But yeah, I mean, I think this also about USC down to earth, and this also kind of shows who they really are, and that it's going to be a while before they become a playoff team. I think it's just like Oklahoma 2.0. Remember how Oklahoma was 2018 and 2021, all offense, no defense. You know what I
no
mean? They were always get to the big games and lose against teams that had a real defense. It's the same thing with USC. You know,
absolutely.
Lincoln Riley hasn't changed really one bit. So um, I think Caleb Williams went to USC to do what he does, not to really win a championship or anything, just to really blow his stats off, blow his stats up, look really good, and go to the league. You know, I disagree with you in the fact that I think that Dre May is better than him. I still think that Caleb Williams is generational talent. I think he's going to win number one overall. I do think Drake May is an amazing quarterback. I think he'll go top three, top four at most. You know what I mean? So, but
Mhm.
I don't know. There's also still a lot of football to be played and whatnot, you know, so it is what it is. But I don't know, man. Notre Dame, I like seeing Notre Dame be good because I'm a big fan of their coach. I think that they're probably going to win every other game, I mean, every game the rest of the season. And I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with probably starting next year, honestly, because, you
Especially once
know,
they get
he's
Houston, you know.
Yeah, they've been recruiting pretty well too. So we'll see,
They got
man.
beat by 28 points.
Yes, no, well, yeah, 28 points. My bad, not 18. My math is wrong. 28 points,
Oh,
4 touchdowns.
yeah, that's. I thought it was 18, like you said. Yeah, you're right. 48-20.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro, it's just a classic USC. Classic USC loss.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but like I said, Marcus Freeman is doing amazing things up there in South Bend, and I think he's building the program the way he really wants to. Like you never hearing
Yeah,
about anything about Notre Dame players doing anything bad off the field. You know what I mean? He's building like a really, really tight, close knit family type football team, and he's also
yep,
building a high standard. And they're obviously rallying behind him, getting the most out of them, and they're going to be playing great. You know, so I'm excited to see what Notre Dame does. You know, we all have that one team where we kind of root for them. You know what I mean? In a way, or like we've always been like a fan of them. You know, ever
yep.
since they got Marcus Freeman, like I said, that's been my team. You know what I mean? I've always liked Oregon as well, but like I sort of like Notre Dame now because of Marcus Freeman. So hope they keep building upon that success, keep going forward. You know. Um, also, let's talk about that Miami North Carolina game. That was a big primetime game. Obviously, Miami coming off that horrible loss when they should have obviously knew it against Georgia Tech. We all know the story. What did you think about that game?
I think that the final score is not what the actual game was. Let me repeat that because I mean Miami was down at one point. It was 34-17 heading into the fourth quarter. Then UNC they Miami threw two bombs late in the quarter and they got touchdowns and they brought it to 41-31. But this game was like a 20-point game, bro.
Yeah.
Miami's coaches are idiots. Like, I'll be quite honest with you. Last week they lost to who did they lose to last week? They lost to damn, who did they lose to? Who did they lose to? Georgia Tech. Last
Mhm.
week they lost to Georgia Tech over a horrible call by the coach, right?
Yep.
By electing to run the ball instead of taking the knee. This week, a bunch of horrible mistakes in the first half. One of them being UNC has the ball at like the 20-yard line. No, at the 30-yard line. It is second and 20. They get a holding call against them to put them
Yep.
at third, to put them at second and 30. You decline it, knowing that you decline it, you have Drake May and all those athletic receivers and what's his name? The dude that just got cleared up by the by NCAA,
Yep.
Des Walker, who was absolutely killing it, went for 132 yards and three touchdowns. On second, they declined. Okay, so let's go back. They what's this? Mario Cristobal declines the flag, keeps them at third and 20, and immediately the play after they score a touchdown. Why wouldn't you want them to be second and 30? You put them at second and 30, they're at the 40-yard line. You at least get them out of field goal range if your
Right.
defense is decent. Nope. They accepted it. I mean, they declined it, kept it going. So I mean, Mario Cristobal has been known for doing all these questionable decisions, even at Oregon, and it's just continuing now. I think that, like we said last week on here, I think that Miami is just a locker room is just going to be broken here because when you play hard and your coaches are just doing stupid stuff, what's the point?
Right. Right. Yeah. Like you said, that call, I mean, back to back weeks with a horrible like call like that had a big effect on the game. You can't help but think he's trying to lose the locker room, honestly. You know what I mean? And the fact that he just like that particular play call, I mean that particular call right there, he could have accepted it, put them out of field goal range, and obviously UNC probably would have just ran the ball and trying to get some yards and get a field goal. You know what I mean? But the fact
Yep.
that he didn't accept the penalty, they scored on the next play, that stuff right there, if you're a Miami fan, infuriates you. I know I'll be pissed. You know what I mean? So thank God I'm the coach that makes dumb decisions like that. But I just think that Miami can't get out their own way with Mario Cristobal. And of course, this isn't the first time he's done stuff like this. He was like known for this at Oregon as well. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think if Miami wants to cut back to being who they are, it's not gonna be with Mario Cristobal. Unfortunately, you know what I mean. He's a great recruiter, amazing recruiter. That's no buts about that. But I don't think he is that guy. You know.
And I mean, looking at Miami's schedule here, man. I mean, it's rough. They already lost 2 games, so they're 4-2 right now. They need 2 games to go over to go bowling, but they go face Clemson next week. They're 4-2. Clemson's no slouch. They lost to FSU and they lost to Duke. Those are the two of the top 3 teams in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
They go to Virginia. Virginia's 1-5, but the quarterback is actually pretty good. But that's just I give them that one, right? They'll go 5-3 there. But they go to NC
Mm-hmm.
State. NC State is decent. They go to Florida State. That's an L. Louisville comes to Miami. That's an L. And then you have a toss up with Boston College. So, I mean, they lost 2 games that were definitely games that. Well, I'm not going to say that UNC was a winnable game because UNC is actually is a top 15 team and it's an actual good offense and they're playing decent defense this year. But like the Georgia Tech game, you shouldn't have lost. There's just no reason to lose that game.
Yeah, facts. Facts. Hold on. It's kind of frozen a little bit. There we go. Yeah, no, facts. Yeah, they shouldn't have lost the Georgia Tech game. So, I still think they would have lost to UNC either way, but obviously, like the UNC loss puts them out of playoff contention. Not that really they really had a chance for it, but like, that definitely affects your mindset for the rest of the season. And then, like you just ran down, showing that the rest of the schedule is not easy whatsoever. So it's going to be a tough season for them, I think. But yeah, like, I think my point still stands is that Marcus Ball just is not that guy for them to get Miami back who they used to be. So, I mean, we'll see, man. But let's go to move on. Let's talk about that Washington and Oregon game. I'm pretty sure, obviously, everybody watched that game. That was a college game day. Was that two undefeated teams, two up-and-coming programs, but two programs that weren't really doing too well recently. But then again, obviously, they're having a great season so far. What did you think about that game?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch this game because I was driving
Okay.
back from Orlando and
Mm-hmm.
I was on the drive. I was watching the damn Gator game. So,
Yeah, I got you. Well, I'll talk about it a
but
little bit.
I
Go ahead.
heard it was a crazy ending. That's all I know.
Right. Um, I think the game lived up to the hype. At first, like in the first quarter or so, it was a defensive kind of slugfest. You know what I mean? So I thought it was gonna be a low scoring game. But then again, it seemed like both offenses kind of clicked and knew what they were doing. Michael Penix is amazing. He just he just knows how to facilitate the ball. His feet works amazing. He knows to get the offense going and everything. So he just looks good. Um, and I just felt like Oregon just I don't know how to really explain it, but it was an amazing game to say the least. Oregon lost on a field goal. They missed their field goal. It was like a 35, 38-yard field goal. It wasn't long at all, and they just missed it right left. So tough loss for Oregon. Great win for Washington. I still think both teams are in the playoff contention race no matter what, because I still think Oregon might either win the Pac-12 or be in the Pac-12 championship game. You know what I mean? And
Right.
but Michael Penix, I think that win, especially with USC losing, I think he's now number one in the playoff. I mean, not the playoff, wow, the Heisman contention, the Heisman winner rankings. Like I said, he's been having an amazing season, and that was a great game. Um, Also, that dude number 11, Franklin for Oregon, is a dog. Top five wide receiver in the country easily. I I'm He carries that offense for sure. I don't know if you watched a lot of Oregon play yet, but number 11, Franklin, is good. But yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game to say the least. And I think moving forward, I think Washington will be a force to be reckoned with because it doesn't look like the coach is going to leave anytime soon. He's built that program up to where it is now, and I'm excited to see the boys do well. So I know you didn't really see, the game, but is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean it's just crazy to see that Penix or however you say his name. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with Penix. I'm not gonna say it the other way. But Penix went for he was in Indiana, didn't struggle there with a lot of injuries. Goes over to Washington and absolutely killing in their last 2 years. He went for 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's very impressive. I would agree with you that he is the Heisman number one candidate right now to win it. The running back did well with 100 yards, 1 touchdown. Wide receiver Odunze, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a very high-powered offensive game that I can see 36-33.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Nix is surprising to me. Bo Nix went over to Oregon and has been absolutely killing it. He went
Yeah.
for 337 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's not something you saw from him at Auburn at all. So you
Mm-hmm.
can see that maybe it was like living after, because his family name is kind of carries in Auburn. Um, so maybe there was just a lot of extra outside pressure on him, and that's why he wasn't able to perform. But I mean, the way that he's performing over there, it's very impressive. And we'll see. I don't think they're done. I think actually Oregon and Washington will see each other again in the Pac-12
Yeah,
championship.
yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Um, Speaking of Pac-12, let's finish up talking about Week 7. Let's go ahead and go to Week 8. So there are a lot, and I mean a lot of big games coming up for Week 8. Put this on the banner real quick. Sorry, guys, I'm
Yeah,
getting used to it.
let's start with Penn State at Ohio State.
Yes, I was gonna start with that one too. Um, that's a big game. Two undefeated teams. Penn State has looked amazing. The game is in Columbus though, so
Yep.
that's gonna be tough for them. But I feel like Ohio State has really looked that good this year. What do you think about them?
Ohio State has been kind of up and down. The first game they play Indiana, they or Illinois, they struggle with them. Um, then a couple of games later, they struggled again. So it's their their offense is very sporadic, and we have to see what team shows up. Usually, when Ohio State play Penn State, is their offense is always playing at full cylinder. So we'll see.
Right.
But Penn State, I mean, Penn State, out of all the teams that I've seen for Penn State produce, this is the most complete one. I mean, defensively, they're great. Offensively, they're scoring a ton of touchdowns on people. So we'll see. I mean, who they both have a chance to take it all the way, right? Um, Especially with how open the college football is this year. But I mean, I'm rooting for Penn State. I'm rooting for Penn State, to be honest with you. But it's going to be a fantastic game. I think it's going to be another Washington Oregon game.
Yeah, I agree in that aspect. It's gonna be a fantastic game. I wish it was at night, honestly,
Yeah.
just because games in the shoe at night just create a different atmosphere. But it's at 11 a.m. Well, sorry, noon Eastern. It's 11 a.m. for me. I'm in Texas, but yeah, noon Eastern. And my first initial thoughts is I think Penn State definitely has a chance to win this game. I would not be surprised if they won, just because Ohio State, like I said, has not really been looking that good. They struggled against Notre Dame. They struggled against Maryland. I don't know if you saw that game, but Maryland definitely had a good chance to win that game. So just I feel like Ohio State's a little bit overrated in that aspect because of how good they were last year. Now they almost beat Georgia. So I don't know, man. This game could go either way. If I had to pick, if I had to pick, I'd probably pick Ohio State just because it's a home game for them. But I really, really would not be surprised if Penn State won that game. It's going to be a good game nonetheless. But I think Penn State has exceeded expectations, and I think they're like a sneaky, like really good sneaky team because everybody's talking about Washington, everybody's talking about Oregon, everybody's talking about Georgia and Ohio State, but nobody's really talking about Penn State like that. And they're, like I said, number 6 rated right now. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a good game. Sorry, number 7 rated, but it's gonna be a good game nonetheless. I'm excited for that one, and I'm glad that it's early in the day too, so we can start off a good day of football. It's also no stress because the Gators don't play, so I can just watch
Oh
Saturday,
man.
chill. um, but let's move on. Another big game, Tennessee at Alabama. We all saw last year that Tennessee beat Alabama, and Alabama has been looking that good this year. And I think, well, obviously both teams being one-loss teams are both fighting to have a playoff chance, and you know what I mean, to get to the SEC championship or whatnot. What's your initial thoughts about that game?
Um, I think Bama's gonna win. There's no way I see Tennessee beating them. I think Tennessee's offense is just not as high powered as they were last year. Clearly, we saw that as when the Gators beat them in the swamp. They got to go to Alabama. It's different, it's different when you play somebody at home. Like when Alabama goes to Tennessee, you have all that home crowd around you. It's a night game. You're absolutely going crazy. You're not doing that. What time is the game at? It's at 3:30. It's a three
Yeah,
thirty game in Alabama. It looks like the Bama quarterback has been playing better as the weeks play out, right?
yeah,
So and let's not forget that Alabama's defense is absolutely stupid. Like they're very good.
yeah,
Um, it's just that they need their offense to match their defense, and lately they've been able to. I see a lot of hype behind Tennessee because they beat Texas A&M, but let's be honest, Texas A&M is the most overrated school every single year since Jimbo Fisher's been there.
Yep.
They haven't been able to do anything. They still, they lost to Miami this year. I just don't see much from. I mean, it'll be a good game the first two quarters. I think Alabama will pull away in the last half.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think Tennessee might get a couple big plays early, especially you know how their coach likes to get downfield a lot. They'll probably get vertical on Alabama, trying to get some big plays downfield, especially when you saw Texas do it against them as well. But I think that Nick Saban has these boys playing with their hair on fire. I think Jalen Milroe has been playing a lot better than what we saw from him early in the season, especially after he got benched and whatnot. I think Alabama's going to keep rolling, and I think Alabama's going to slowly creep their way back into like the top 10 and then like the top 7 and slowly do what they do, and then do what they usually do, take over. So I got Alabama win this game big, especially with it being a home game as well. And the fact that they've already lost one game and that their backs are against the wall, that's usually when they play their best, especially under
Yep.
Nick Saban. So I got Alabama winning that game big. Like I'm talking like 41-20, big. You know what I mean? So excited to see that one, at least in the first quarter. It's going to be fun to watch, but it's going to just kind of get boring, in my honest opinion. So there's that. Another good game. We got two other good games I want to cover. One of them is Duke at Florida State. We know Duke had that big Week 1 victory over Clemson, and they've been looking pretty solid. They did drop a game, though. Let me pull up their schedule really quick. I know they lost to
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Yeah, that was a close game, though. That was a close game. They lost by one touchdown. Yeah, they lost 21-14. So, what you think about that Florida State Duke game?
I am praying for Duke to do the godly thing and beating FSU. I am tired of hearing them being undefeated. But that's as a biased Gator fan. Now I'm gonna say it as an unbiased football fan. I think that game's gonna be actually pretty interesting, just because Duke has a very very good defense. I'm looking at their overall scores right now that they've allowed. They allowed 7 points to Clemson, 7 to Lafayette, 14 to Northwestern, 7 to UConn, 21 to Notre Dame, 3 to NC State. You're talking about let's be honest, an elite defense. Offensively, they scored 21 points, 28 points. They scored over 48 points. I mean, they scored over 40 points 3 times this year, or 2 times this year. The only thing that I have against Duke is that they're going to FSU. It's not at Duke. It's at FSU. It's a night game at FSU. And FSU has been looking pretty good. Some games they look kind of wishy washy. If we're going to be honest, that's not being a hater for all these Seminoles fans out there. Last week you struggled with who did they just play? They played Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
That was a close game, and then they struggled with Boston College. So what team will show up? Will the A+ team from the Seminoles show up like when they played LSU in the first overall game? Or will Boston College FSU team will show up? We don't know, but we'll see, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
can Duke do it? Absolutely. I think their defense is very good, and it's good enough to do it. But it's going to be hard to stop that fire offense from FSU, man. That offense is very good when it's clicking. When it's not clicking, it's all right.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it spot on in the fact that it's going to be interesting to say the least. I do think FSU wins just because they're at home. I think
Yeah.
they're obviously game at home, but Duke's defense is something serious. Like you said, I don't think they've given up over 21 points this whole entire season. I think the most they gave up was Notre Dame, so that's a really good team. It's just Keon Coleman is obviously the best receiver on that team. That boy he's just different, to say the least, And I just have a really hard time believing that they're able to stop Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. You know what I mean? As an unbiased Gator fan, it's going to be fun to watch for sure. I do think what's his name? Henry Bellein, the fifth, something like that. That's Duke's quarterback. Dude is nice. Duke can sling it, and we've all seen Florida State kind of struggle with offenses that have a really good quarterback. I.e. the Boston College game. He's not like great, but he's good. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be kind of maybe a shootout a little bit, but I do think Florida State comes out on top. But I'm gonna be excited to see that one too. I think that was at 7:30 y'all's time. Yeah,
Yep.
7:30. So it's gonna be a good game to watch. One last game, and it's gonna be a really really important game for the Pac-12 championship race, which is Utah at USC. What do you think about that one? Tough.
Is Rising finally playing?
Let me see. I want to make sure I get this right.
I mean, what's going on with him? I know he didn't play versus the Gators.
Right.
Because his ankle, I mean, his knees hasn't recovered yet. But it was like week 3, week 4, when they lost to whoever they lost to, he was still not playing. Oh, when they lost to Oregon State 21-7, still not
Right.
playing. So is he playing or not? Because if he's playing, I got Utah. If he's not playing, USC will beat him.
Right. Let's see. I mean, from what I've seen right now, it's still up in the air. He's listed as doubtful, and he had an interview recently where he said he tore multiple ligaments in his knee. You know what I mean? And that interview was just on, you know, that interview was it's on the 5th. Sorry, it was on the 5th. I was mixing up my words, but it says right now he's doubtful, but I agree with you in the fact that if he plays, they got it. But if they have to go with that TQB system thing without the running quarterback and everything, he's good. And USC defense is horrible. It'll be a good shootout, but I just don't see them lasting toe to toe with Caleb Williams. You know,
Yeah.
especially when it's at USC. You know what I mean? So it's just gonna be a good game too. One last teams. Utah's defense is pretty nice, but I just don't see them lasting in the shootout. Like I said, against Caleb Williams, I think there'd be too much coming off of a loss. You know, their backs up against the wall. Caleb Williams last year. You know, last chance being a playoff team, winning the championship with Caleb Williams. You know, I think that's gonna be too much. USC has too much to lose, so I got USC.
I got USC as well. Not gonna pay a lot of the hypotheticals or anything like that.
Yeah,
I want to do 2 shout outs out here. Man,
yeah.
shout out to Air Force. They're 6-0 and they're ranked. I don't know when that last time that happened, but shout out to the Air Force. They play Navy this week. They're 3-3, and the Air Force is 6-0. That is a 12 o'clock game on CBS. So that's interesting, bro. I don't know when the last time a armed force team was ranked and undefeated.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. And the other shout out that I want to do is to Iowa. Iowa has been scoring less than 15 points per game, and they're 6-1. That defense is ridiculous.
Man was so impressed to give him a shout out.
Shout out to them. I'm getting to that, bro. They scored 24 points to Utah State, 20 points to Iowa State. They beat the brakes out of Western Michigan. They lost to Penn State 31-0. They beat Michigan State. Basically, most of the points are defensive points. They beat Michigan State 26-16, Purdue 20-14, and they just beat Wisconsin 15-6. So, hey, man, shout out to Iowa, bro. They're out there, scoring 2 points per game and winning. As long as you get the W, right? That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah. Right. I guess. Man said, I'm so impressed that y'all are 6-1 and offense is totally cheeks, but that defense is something serious though, for sure. So shout out to Iowa, like you said. Shout out to Air Force, man. I didn't know they were undefeated and ranked. It's kind of crazy. Are they still running the wing tee, or they finally grew up from that?
Man, let me see what they're running now. Let me look at the stats and just see what the heck they're running, because I remember, I mean, they all ran the wing tee, didn't they? I mean, right now they running something. Yeah, they got to, because their quarterback. Well, let me see. Hold on, wait a second.
Yeah.
The quarterback only has 468 yards.
Yep.
4 touchdowns, and the running back has 497 yards, 8 touchdowns. So yes, they're still running the wing tee. I don't know why it is that these armed forces teams, the military teams, they want to run that. Why can't y'all progress to pro style?
I don't get it either.
I don't know what it is.
Or I would be pissed if I had to play a team that ran a wing tee. It's just so annoying to play against.
It's very annoying. Actually, not the Air Force, the Army team plays at LSU, so that will be a game to kind of keep a close eye on, because whenever you play one of those three teams, Air Force, Navy, and Army, whenever you face any of those teams, man, that shit is ass, because the wing T is horrible, bro. You gotta watch for the quarterback to be able to run, the fullback, the running back, the two pulling guards or tackles, the reverse. It's very annoying. I'm not saying that's not beatable. Obviously, it is beatable. That's why that offense is not very important anymore, not
Yeah.
very used. But it's just very difficult to defend. And we'll see. But yeah, just shout out to those teams, man. One for not scoring. Then shout out to the Air Force. They're 6-0, bro. I don't know when the
Yeah.
last time that happened. And
Nah,
they're
for sure.
ranked. They even make the playoffs?
They can make the playoffs. I mean, I don't know what conference
They're
they're
not.
in.
They're in. Actually, let me see. They are. They're in the Mountain West. Yeah, they definitely could.
But, hold on, man. I gotta do some research. Where the fuck is their stadium at? If they even have a
Yeah,
stadium.
it's in Colorado Springs.
Okay. All right. I sincerely don't think that. I mean, I would. Let's just talk a little crazy here. If they make the playoffs, I'll be so mad. Like
Yeah,
seeing like Georgia versus Army. Come on, man. Come on, man. If I have to sit here on January 1st and watch the fucking wing T, but I would not. That'll probably be the first time I miss a college football playoff game. First and only time, because I'm like, bro, we're wasting our time. We did the same thing last year with TCU. Granted, they beat Michigan, yeah, but like that championship game was horrible.
yep.
Losing 65-7 in the championship game is so crazy. But but
But
yeah,
it'll be
man.
crazy if they go undefeated. They very well could, looking at their freaking schedule, and they
Yeah,
get a high bowl game, or possibly get in there for whatever reason. I don't know what the hell I would do as a damn Gator fan.
yeah, man. Especially think about the fact that Georgia lost Brock Bowers probably for the season. I think Brock Bowers like I got my 2 rings. I'm ready to prove myself. I'm not going to sit here and risk it anymore. I'm just going to wait to the NFL, which is smart in my opinion, for him to do, and also good for a Gator fan. Not good for him getting hurt, but good with the fact that we play a Brock Bowers Georgia team, in 2 weeks. But anyway, we'll talk about the game when we get there next week. But
From what I read in his surgery, just real quick, is he can like fully recover within 3 to 6 weeks. So I mean, like
oh,
if in
okay,
3 weeks he can come back healthy, then obviously he can do that. But no, being him, he's going to be a top five pick, top 3 pick. I mean, he's
yeah,
unreal. Let's be honest here. So why
yeah,
risk it? I mean, the only way that I would risk it is if it's the end of the week, the end of the year. You got an SEC championship, you got the playoffs. Sure, go ahead and play. Like, go get another ring. But you don't like. I don't know. It's difficult. Let's just say hypothetically they lose to somebody. They lose to
yeah.
Florida. They lose to whoever. Why would I risk that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I risk my health and my top 5 pick for me to injure that ankle again? And now everybody's questioning, oh, hey, should I draft you as a top 3 player, or just wait
hmm
till second round?
Right, right, yeah. I think we all can say that he's generational. Whether you hate Georgia or love him, that man's generational. And you know, either way, I think he loves Georgia, and I think honestly, if they were in a situation where they really need him, I think he'll come back.
Right.
So from what I've seen, he loves Georgia. So, but yeah, man, it's gonna be good to see these games coming up this weekend. Like I said, that Penn State, Ohio State game, you got Duke, you got FSU, you got USC, you got Utah. There's a lot of good games coming up this upcoming Saturday. So you guys tweet us your thoughts and opinions. We'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on the show, thoughts and opinions on the games, because we are tweeting obviously a lot more. We want to see you guys engage with us more, show us some love. We appreciate you guys. And that's it for today. You guys enjoy yourselves. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves. Like I said, follow us everywhere. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All the good stuff. Show us some love. We appreciate you guys. And we will catch y'all next time. Y'all take care. Peace.